Well, here we go. The Hunting Land Man podcast, episode 47, I believe. If you hear anything in the background, we're recording at the house today. And I've got a special guest on that's been on before, and we've got a really exciting episode. Before we get going, as always, where we're sitting and of all the places we hunt is brought to you by Southern Ag Credit. They take good care of us. They took good care of our clients, and they're a big sponsor and partner with us. And honestly, I did a little video for them today, and the reason that's so easy to push them are they are the best in the business, and I like dealing with it. So Southern Ag Credit, if you're looking to finance land, you need to check them out. All right, we got Cragg Fitz on the mic tonight, and we got a really, I think it's going to be a fun episode. What you tell me what it's about, Cragg.
Well, I'm going to start with this. The last time I did one, there was three of us, so now it's kind of weird. It's just me.
Who was the other person on the line?
I think Caleb.
Well, I want Caleb to come over here.
Luke, maybe I don't know who it was, but it was three of us, and so now it just me and you looking at each other. That's kind of weird.
You're looking at me, but I'm not looking. Well, now
I really don't know what to do. Yeah, it's like Ricky Bobby.
Don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, since Cragg dropped the ball on telling y'all what the episode was about, episode 47. This is Barry. If you follow us on social media, Barry is the deer that I killed last week at a spot Cragg and I hunt together, undisclosed location, not far from my house. A fair chase, absolute giant, best deer I've ever killed in Southwest Mississippi, and it's a pretty cool story because the deer was different not only because he was big, but I'm just going to be straight out. I'm not going to say he was dumb. He just liked the daylight.
He was
because he's pretty sharp.
I will say he was dumb.
I don't know. He was pretty sharp.
He was
from my observations of him.
Yeah, he was. He moved a lot. There you go. He moved a lot, and he wasn't scared. He wasn't scared to move in daylight. That's right. And he did that. Arrogant.
He was arrogant.
Very
Caleb
arrogant.
said. If y'all couldn't hear that,
yes, that was good.
Cameraman Caleb said that he's arrogant. Oh, I mean Rackbuck Realtor. Anyway,
and he was like that since the first time we ever got a picture of him.
Right. And so Barry, Southwest Mississippi, Wilson County, really good deer. I took him last week, and we're recording this late November. I took him right after Thanksgiving. I think the 26th, 5th, somewhere in there. Anyway, so the history behind this is a 5-year-old buck, big mature buck, and it's kind of a testament. And a lot of these times, these stories end sad. And what I mean by that is, you let these big deer go and, somebody else kills them or something like that. Or you let a 4-year-old go and somebody shoots them and you can't blame them, but you're trying to get them 5. But this time it worked out. Or for me anyway.
It halfway worked out. It halfway worked out because of the uniqueness of the story.
Right. Well, Blake Duvall, you say this all the time. It's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Like you can do everything wrong or right, but if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And for a whole lot of the Barry episode, y'all are going to see it was like the stars did not want to align. Like, okay, so let's do this. Let's start with telling you, okay, who Barry is. We're not going to say how he got his name. I will leave that alone.
Use your imagination.
Cragg named him, so
it's true. It's true.
Not on me, but anyway, Cragg and I, first year on this lease. We got a picture late November.
No, it was December 13th, actually.
Okay. We both had pictures of him, and this was before we ran a whole lot of cell cameras, so It was like you actually had to go check the camera. So tell us the story. I think you got the picture of him first.
Yeah, so I was actually on the way to another hunt in the Delta of Mississippi, and I stopped by 100% just to check my cameras and pulled the cards. Didn't even check the cards. I just switched the cards out, pulled them. When I got up to my hunt in the Delta, I checked on my computer, and he showed up. And
what plot?
That was a southeast plot. Oh, actually, where you killed him.
Yeah,
where you killed him. And so I was like, okay, what deer is this? I text Slade and told him about him. And I was like, okay, must be a shooter this year. Well, then I started getting more pictures of him. And I was like, Slade, I'm pretty sure this deer's 3 years old. Like, it's hard to call him a 3-year-old, but
because he actually had pretty good mass, and he was a main.
He was 12, 13 points then.
Right.
And but he was tiny, and his body was just tiny, and he acted like a 3-year-old, which when he was 5, he kind of acted like a 3-year-old too. So
he was a mainframe 9. He 9, 10, 11. He was a 12.
12 point. Okay.
Yeah, he was a 12, and he was a 12 the next year too. And this year, he actually was.
We
a
don't
10.
know what he was his 4-year-old year because.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is actually right. He was no, I think I got a picture of him with one side still.
First picture we had of him was nothing on 4-year-old year.
But anyway, as a 3-year-old, really good deer. Cragg and them saw him a lot. I don't think I didn't hunt very much on the lease that year. And the lease, I was just chasing other deer and stuff like that. And the most of the time when I hunt the lease, I bring my little boy, and actually I'm teaching him how to hunt as an 11-year-old. And so we have this big pipeline over there, and he likes to go spot and stalk does, which is fun. So we do that a lot at the lease, and he's killed a couple, and it's been fun. But so Cragg and them, y'all saw him several times.
Well, we saw him so much, I can tell you this, we saw him so much that we stopped hunting where he was going because I
didn't want to be tempted?
Yeah, I was scared like my dad or something was going to mess up. So we literally stopped hunting where he was going.
So, so okay, we knew about this deer now. We knew, we shoot 5-year-olds in this area. All the spots I hunt right here by my house, we're blessed to have good neighbors, and it's a very unique area that we can let them get 5. In fact, Craig's got some on the lease this year. I've got some here at the house and on my other spots right there that we let get 6. The deer, and what's cool about this lease is I have a place that I hunt, and y'all have seen me kill a lot of deer at. A mile from there south, and we get pictures of the same deer. Not always, but it's so fun because we can kind of see what these deer are doing and how each of them have a different personality and how far they move. Now, this particular deer, as a 3-year-old, Bo, and they didn't have him.
Nobody had a picture of him except us.
Yeah.
And you really didn't have many.
I had him at the foxhole a lot.
Yeah, he was just pretty much localized in that one spot.
And
what
was fun is I left some cameras out and I went to get him during turkey season, and he was in on me early March, so I knew he made it. And so fast forward to last year, he showed up a little earlier last year,
about a month earlier.
Yeah, he was late October.
No, it was in November. It was middle of November.
Okay, and we both were getting pictures of him, Cragg and I, and we knew we weren't going to shoot him. He actually showed up. He showed up, and he was
left side was gone.
Broke off right past his G2, and then a week later he broke off the G2 and all. And I don't know what he was fighting, but he was fighting something bad because he had a mass, And actually, I thought this year, your mind plays tricks with you. I'm like, man, I hope he don't get broke up. Maybe he's got thin horn. Maybe he has not dense horns or something. But so anyway, Cragg and them, I think his dad saw him 4 times last year.
4 times last year, literally passed him 4 times. The first time they saw him was at the southeast plot where you killed him. And my nephew.
He said he walked out. He helped me recover him, and he said he walked out exact same as he walked out when I killed him.
And my nephew started hyperventilating. My dad was like, what? Because my dad couldn't see him. And my nephew was like, big buck, and hyperventilating. And then because all they could see was his right side. And when he turned, they saw it was Barry, and that's when the Barry story really began last year. Because then he just followed them everywhere they went.
Yep, they did see him a lot. But hey, before we get too far in this, I just thought about this. Big news. Can we talk about this, Caleb? What happened today?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, so Caleb went on the lease to a spot I've had pictures of Barry before, and his wife, Claire, smacked her first doe with a bow. So, honestly, right now, since Caleb has hung around me, Claire has killed just as many deer with her bow as Caleb has. So, cameraman Caleb is not only Claire's husband, he's also Claire's cameraman.
I'm not afraid to get after that 30-06, man.
Dirty Knock 6. But anyway, congratulations, Claire. Now she has to listen to the podcast because we mentioned her on it.
That's right.
She has tag us in it and all that kind of stuff.
That's how you get listeners.
That's right. We're stretching out to a different audience. But anyway, back to Barry. So 4-year-old went by. We saw him good, but now, it's getting real now. So on another topic I have on my list right here. So whenever Cragg and I first got the lease, we kind of, it's all together, but we kind of hunt it separately. And sometimes we hunt on each other and sometimes we don't. But anyway, we kind of popped some lines, said, you hunt and feed here, you hunt and feed here. And we got decent food plots, some big food plots, and we have feeders in a lot of them. And I got, for whatever reason, on the end I picked, I've got a picture of a shooter one time in daylight, well, 2 times in daylight in 2 years.
It's true.
And then the neighbor killed him. That was where y'all went today. And I remember I was sitting at Christmas. It was he's like a 12.
It was a 6x5 is what we called him, yeah.
Anyway, I remember sitting at Christmas and, you know, I'm sitting at Christmas, kids are opening gifts and things great. My phone goes off and I look and he's standing there in broad daylight. And it was one of them, I know other hunters, and Craig, you'll test this, like you predict daylight movement in your head, but you know you can't go, and then he daylights. Mm-hmm. Like I did that with Barry this year. And we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, so Craig and I, we, instead of popping the lines from east to west, we flopped them from north to south.
It was north to south.
Okay.
And now we're east to west.
Right. Well, I'm talking the line. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, we swapped how the lines were, and just so happened that 2 of the plots, Barry frequents really 3 plots the most. Yeah. My spots and 2 spots. So 2 of the spots were on Barry. So thank you, Craig. But Craig, back to a couple years ago, Craig kind of owed me because I just gave him a deer, handed it in his lap. I actually went there yesterday, by the way.
Yeah. That was a good hunt too. That
really,
was fun.
Really good hunt. In fact, if you're listening and you want to get in on something good hunting, this was at Diamond Island. Davis Island is right beside it. We just listed 458 acres with a camp. And if you want to kill giants, a lot bigger giants than we kill right here, like consistently kill deer like Barry, I can sell it to you. And it's bad to the bone, man. It really is. And when you go over there, it's like, yep, I'm in big deer country. Speaking of, Caleb, on the way out yesterday, we saw deer everywhere. Really? Yeah, we got video of them just riding. They just sitting there beside the road. And one decent buck.
2 does you talking about?
Well, there's 3 over there. Yeah, I saw them. Anyway, so Craig kind of owed me one. But
I will say, in Slade's defense, when we did the property, we split it east to west instead of north to south. He did give me the option if I wanted the east or the west. Like I remember that, and I remember going, crap. I was like,
well, honestly, the best plots, those 2 big plots, are on your side.
Yeah, I knew the west side
and
was
the best
better.
pipeline spot. In that
Yeah, I will 100% agree with that. The west side was better, but I knew I was giving up Barry. Like I knew I was giving up Barry, and I was like, well, Barry's just one.
And I remember Craig saying, well, I mean, I'm giving Barry up, but I mean, he's gonna come on me in the rut anyway. I said, and I said he ain't gonna make it to the rut, buddy.
And whenever you kept, well, I know we ain't there yet, but whenever you kept having encounters, I was like, man, if he just make it to the rut, I got a chance.
And so all summer, okay, I know now that pending nothing happens to him during the summer, which he doesn't live on us during the summer,
No.
and I'm going to get to that. If nothing happens to him during the summer, I'm gonna have a chance at this deer. So this summer I went and moved feeders around. I remember I put some Flame Kiss. I said, I'm going to get Barry coming in. I'm feeding him Flame Kiss soybeans, and I'm going to grow him even bigger. No Barry. No Barry. I'm like, well, so I left everything out and moved some stuff around. No Barry. Well, velvet season gets here. We're hunting. No Barry. October the 1st, literally the regular opening day of bow season. I'm sitting there, and a deer comes by my reveal cell camera. And I said, it looks like a mature deer, but I couldn't see his rack good. I could see it was a good deer, but I couldn't see his rack good. 1 o'clock in the day, broad daylight.
Straight Barry.
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the day. I'm like, I wonder what deer that is. So I went hunting that afternoon. I think I was hunting right here at the house. And that night, he walked up to the feeder and said, that's Barry. And I sent Craig a message. His exact words were, yeah, that's Barry. And he daylighted that afternoon, too. I'm like, oh, yeah, here we go.
Which, by the way, was a month and a half earlier than the year
Right.
before. Mm-hmm. Like, it was always a month difference. So, like, I said, if he'd have made it this year, hey, we made it. He may have summered on us because he was getting so.
So I got him right there, and I started immediately hunting him. Of course, we're filming. I'm trying to get it all on video, and I hunted him. So I had 5 encounters with him, 4 that I got on video, and this will all be. It's going to be one of the best if we do it correct, which we're working on it now. If we do it correctly, it'll be, to me, one of the best story told about a big deer in the South, because unlike the Midwest, where Mark Drury and Lee and all these people have all these encounters, you never see them. I mean, typically, if you see them here, you kill them.
That's correct.
You know, I mean, you don't have a lot of encounters. Like last year, I saw El Diablo. Me and Caleb did one morning. Then Forrest saw him, and then I killed him, and that was a lot. You know, so that was a cool story. And that was about 2 miles south of where I killed Barry. But anyway, so it was. I'd have to go back and look at the dates. I got all this documented. But anyway, it was the first week of October. I remember I needed a north wind to hunt that ladder stand. That stand I actually killed him in. Mm-hmm. I went. And dude, this year on every hunt, I'm going to get to this even more. My scent game is on point. I don't care what anybody says. I'm doing everything you can do. I'm about to wreak havoc on those 140-pound does over there. They blow upwind, downwind. And Barry almost would be used to it. And the fact that these other deer were used to it, I'm like, okay, they do this when you're not even here.
Time.
Like they blow and they blow. I'd be sitting there, everything's good. I'd be texting everybody, texting Barrett, texting Craig, wind's good, man, looking good.
Yep. From upwind.
Yeah, just, and also where he frequented the most this year in the middle plot, not where I killed him. The wind swirls. That little bottom right there, it pulls that wind around terrible.
Well, I kind of give it's on top of a hill, kind of like on top, like I guess you call it, what's that? I don't know what you call it.
Little plateau.
Like a plateau, yeah. And so when it comes off of that, it can go anywhere.
And it sucks down. It does some, even when you've got like the good, like northwest wind, which still, you know, he still does that. But anyway, first week of October, I've got a north wind finally. I'm going into Huntberry. All right. Went in there, and sure enough, deer were coming in good. He comes in right after dark. Too dark for camera.
You sent me the picture. It was like, yeah.
Yeah, dark enough I could see him, you know, I could see him perfectly through my binoculars. He fed over there about 43 yards, to be exact, for a while. And then he walked by me after about 20 minutes after dark. He walked by me at 8 yards, just right under me. And everything was good. I was like, okay, we're good. He got out of there clean. I don't know if it was the next day. It was a couple days later. I had a south wind, and I had hung a set on the other end of that field for a south wind. And, man, the deer were moving good. It was money. And it was one of them deals. I've never been in this scenario. Every time I would hear, you know, like, that's definitely a deer walking. My heart would, like, I could hear it in my ears. Like, because I just knew.
It was him.
Because he would come out early a lot of times. So you just thought, oh, yeah, it's him. That's a buck. That's a buck. You know, you start playing tricks on yourself. So I never forget all these deer. And then right at last shooting light, I hear it. I said, oh, that's him. That's him. It was a single animal coming in. I stand up, bow in the hand, comes out right under me, 250-pound hog. And it done scared all the deer off, so I drilled him. He ran off, and we found blood everywhere. But we didn't want to go track him because didn't want to go in there for Barry. And I don't mind saying that because hogs all need to die. We got thousands of them around here. Literally that many of them. I guarantee you I could check my cameras right now and go shoot one with my thermal. All right. So after that, let me see. There was a couple of hunts in there where we didn't see him. Then Hunter and I, we had a east wind. We went to the ladder at the middle plot. Okay. So we had first encounter. Nope. I got another encounter. I missed one. Okay. 2 or 3 mornings later, boom, he comes to the foxhole. Foxhole, and I'm like, oh yeah. So I had a camera set hung for a south wind there. I slid in there an hour before daylight, self-filming, and I had kind of committed to self-filming because of the doe situation. Less wind, less scent. The early season, we had so many easterly south winds that were just kind of swirly. I said, I'm going to go in there. So get in there before daylight, wind's perfect. Deer coming. Even some deer came from downwind, and they came in there, knew something wasn't right, but they still came in. I said, oh, yeah, we're on. Like, we're on. It gets daylight. Here comes a bunch of deer, and I look, there's Barry. Broad daylight coming right in.
Morning hunt, by the way, in October in Southwest Mississippi.
Right. And y'all will see, and he's in velvet. Yeah. Y'all will see this on video, and y'all going to be like, wow, how did you not get this deer killed? Well, anybody who's ever self-filmed mini hunts, well, first of all, if you're going to commit to self-filming, you're cameraman first. You have to be, which is just super hard for me. So you're like when you see a shooter coming, if you're just hunting, you're grabbing your bow and your rangefinder, and you're getting ready to kill. Well, if you're filming until he comes in there and stops, and then you grab your bow and do all that. So it takes more. I didn't have a lot of cut up, and that's another thing with hunting berry. I'm hunting 13-year-old pine trees for the most part. Like it is, you can't get real high, and you don't have much cover. So I had a whole lot of cover, so I had to let him come in and pick a spot. And he gets in there, and y'all will see all this on video. This is a couple weeks out, but wait till y'all see this. He's in there, and I've got my bow in my hand. I've got the camera locked down. I'm literally putting tension on my string. I feel the wind hit me in the back of the neck, and a doe behind him blows, and there goes Barry. And on the way out, I go, and I drew, and he just got on out of there. So I was just sick. Because, literally like 18 yards. He was right there. And I was sending y'all the video, and it was pretty depressing, to say the least. You just don't usually get chances at big deer like this. And what the chances were, it was chances, but like, if I'm going to commit to self-filming, I didn't do anything wrong. Like you can't just jerk your bow and go. You taking your time. He was calm. The wind was right. Everything was good. Let it happen. But, you start second guessing yourself. And I ain't gonna lie, this whole scenario, I was like, I just ain't got it no more. I don't know, man. You just start playing games.
And I was going, if he could just make it another month or month and a half.
And I was like, if I woke up at the night to use the bathroom, or if the baby woke up, if Rafe woke up, I checked my cameras. Mm-hmm. Like I was obsessed.
I'm in that right now.
With the 10?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so that encounter happened. Several days later, Hunter and I went to the middle plot, which is a different spot. And this is going to be the third encounter. And
Foxhole, middle plot, southeast plot. Right. That's the three.
And these spots are 775 yards apart. There's one in the middle, so it's 170. The farthest 775, and then there's the middle plot.
Which is probably where he frinkled the most.
Right. Even last year.
Yeah, last year too.
And this year too. So anyway, even the day he died, which we'll get to that. So we're in the middle plot, got an east wind. And man, things are going good. The only the weather's good, but it was windy. And if you're listening to this and you're not from the South, like if you're in Missouri or Kansas and the wind's blowing 15, 18, deer don't bother deer much, at all. Here, like they don't like it. Mm-mm. They don't like a heavy wind, and that's not even heavy. They don't like it to be windy.
Yeah,
they like swirling winds. But anyway, the deer were coming in, but they were like, they'd get up there and they'd start eating in the plot, and then they'd just run out, just being goofy deer. And so finally, 15 minutes before dark, boom, 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 here comes Velvet Berry stepping out again. I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. And he just, the deer kind of freaked out again, and he ran back down in the woods, but like they ran 20 yards to stop. And then he comes in after dark, after camera light, it was still legal shooting light. I told Hunter, I said, I'm shooting him. And I grabbed my bow, and as soon as I'm like, I just barely even got my bow in my hand. Again, the deer spooked and ran off. So we just hurried up and got out of there. So that's encounter 3. And you're just thinking like any minute we're going to be putting too much pressure on this deer, and he's going nocturnal or never coming. You would think. Yeah. And then it went through my brain. I said, Craig and him have had these encounters with this deer, and he's had basically the same pressure, and he didn't.
Never.
Which is probably a blessing that he had encountered this, so it wasn't shocker to him. Mm-hmm. All right. So right after that, I was going in to fill the feeder at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Let the deer feed in the morning, come up. Barry hadn't been there since that night. I'm just going to fill the feeder. I remember right before I got there, I just pulled my reveal app down and looked, and that sucker was standing there as I'm on the way in. So I had to back out and come in later that day and feed him. He was just the most random deer.
Daylight deer
ever. And just do it like, oh, here's 1 p.m. on Thursday. Yep. Like no reason, just walk by the camera.
All 3 years he was like that.
So that was encounter number 3. And now we're about to get serious. We are week of the kill now. So Thanksgiving week. All right. I'm self-filming. I'm in my, there's been several hunts in the middle of here. Barry in the middle of this, before that, he went a little nocturnal. He was like 30 minutes after dark, like a regular deer, for a week and a half at the time. In fact, the whole time I was going to the Midwest, he only daylighted once, which was probably good for my mental state. So anyway, I hung that set on the middle plot for west, anything with a west, and I could flirt with a north wind, and it was a pretty good setup. And I made several hunts there, had some good hunts. He didn't come in. And then on the week I killed him, I'm hunting there, and he had daylighted 2 days before. So I went, no show, had a good hunt. No. Yeah, I went, had a good hunt, went the next day, and didn't see a deer.
That's when I was hunting with, and I was seeing a bunch of deer, and
Yeah.
you didn't see a deer.
Didn't see a deer. Then the next day I went, all the deer that are supposed to be there were coming good. Everything's good. Wind's good. I mean, I'm sitting there good. Deer's feeding out the field. And I hear some deer back behind me. I see a couple does. So I pull, y'all will see all this on video. I pull the camera on the road behind me. And here I saw a couple does. And I remember a dark deer, which Barry is dark deer stepping. I said, what is that? Oh, crap. That's him coming from
The wrong way.
the wrong way. He's coming from the foxhole, yeah. And he's coming from the east. And I'm like, what in the world? And like I have zero cover from this direction. I set up the stand and have cover from the field where all the deer come from. So anyway, here he comes walking down the road. So I just get the camera on him, and I'm not trying to zoom. I'm just trying to let him walk by me, because when he walks by me, I got cover, and I'm set up for that. I'm about to smoke him at 18 to 20 yards. It's about to be epic. Well, the wind was blowing out north, which was going to blow right to Barry, but he's going to blow over him because he was so close. He walks up there and he stops at 13 yards. And I mean 13 yards if it wasn't 12. And I'm sitting dead still, and I've had everybody text me when I sent them the little video clip or the pictures. Why didn't you shoot? Why didn't you shoot? Like, when I brought Barrett out there and I showed him the tree, he's like, oh, yeah, you couldn't have done nothing. Like, I'm in a 13-year-old beanpole with zero cover for the road, and he's at 13 yards semi-facing me. He stops right there, and when he stops, I hear some behind me, and literally 30, she started at 30 and then went to 50 yards behind me. This doe starts blowing, and he just freezes like pins and needles, freezes, and she's blowing. We're going to do a doe blow count on the video, and it's going to flirt with 20. I'm telling you, she was losing her mind back there. And Barry is tolerating it because he doesn't know what's going on, because he's right there by her and he don't see anything. Well, he's looking out in the field, and there's a little small 2-year-old 8-point that looks like a baby Barry if you've seen him. Anyway, he's sitting out there, and that deer's calm, and Barry, I'm like, oh, she will leave. He's coming. Like he's already here. And about that time, that deer left. And so Barry got real nervous then. And what happened next broke my heart. He just threw his head up and looked up in a tree and skedaddled. He was gone, man. And I'm thinking, like, that's the first time he knew I was here. Yeah. Like, that's the first time, like, he said, oh, crap, I'm being hunted. And so your mind goes to regular deer that well, he's going to go nocturnal now. Good luck during the rut. He's going to the neighbor. Speaking of the neighbor, had pictures of him. Yeah. I talked to the neighbor about it. And now that we know, I don't think the neighbor ran cameras the last 2 years, and I mean that. I think, we had talked to them about not shooting Barry the last 2 years, and of course they weren't, but I think they possibly were looking for him this year, and why wouldn't you be? And they saw him in person in the pasture, and they had pictures of him. So everybody else is hunting with a boomstick. Remember, I'm hunting with an expedition. I'm hunting with the bow. And so
that's why I was hoping he crossed, because I was hunting with a boomstick.
Yeah. And so, and Craig texted me that day. He said, it's time to you to grab the boomstick. And I said, it's bow or nothing. If somebody else kills him, so be it. And he, shockingly, 25 minutes later, he walked up in shooting light to the southeast plot. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, this is the most random deer. And look, deer are like this more than people realize. My deer education comes from Tatum, which is a high fence, but it was 2,200 acres when Craig and I basically got our deer education out there. And Craig can tell you this. You had some deer that you'd never see. And then some deer that, like Barry, just daylighted almost every day. it's they just all have different personalities. Now, usually, if you're not in a good area, a deer like Barry gets shot at 3 or 4, so you never get to find out what he's going to do at 5. So, anyway, so he leaves there, goes to the southeast plot, and he basically came in daylight, fed at the feeder for a while. And what I did, I had in my feeders, I had corn, and then I had a little protein mixed in there, and then the sweet. Now, look, I was obsessed with this deer. I put out sweet stuff, rice bran, and regular rice bran, and Game Changer out. I wanted to have the best feed out there. Barry always went to the Game Changer. He always went, and a lot of times they go to the sweet stuff, but he always went to the Game Changer. So all my corn that went in the feeder, it'd get sprinkled and rubbed down with Game Changer. I wanted him to be happy. So the next afternoon, I went back to the exact same stand. I said, maybe he'll come right back here. Went right, and sure enough, when I'm sitting there, boom, at 3:58 in the afternoon, broad daylight on the reveal trail camera. I got it on HD because it's like a picture perfect. Broad daylight, he goes in there and feeds all afternoon. And at that, I'm like, well, if he's here that early, he could come over here. Well, he didn't. And so I went to bed that night saying, I'm going southeast plot. I was ready, buddy. And I mean, we're on, like, I ain't gonna lie, work suffered a little bit from this deer. And my wife, thankfully, Lori, understood that this was not a normal deer, and I had reason to be obsessed with him. Well, next morning, I woke up, I was checking my cameras. What's Barry do? He daylights at the rooster hole. I mean, the foxhole, the foxhole. So then they're like, oh, what do you got, a foxhole? That means he's over by the middle plot. Do you go to the middle plot, or do you do what you thought you were going to do, go to the southeast plot? So I said, I'm going southeast plot.
Hands down, done it.
I'm going southeast plot. Got the right wind. It's probably wind-wise the place that's the most consistent. I like the best wind-wise. I spotted me a better tree to hang a lock on in by that magnolia tree, by the way, but we don't. But
hey, that setup that you killed out of was a really good setup.
It is, and well, I had to get down to that magnolia tree and break some limbs off to put up there, because when I got up there, I'd not hunted up there since October. A bunch of leaves that fell. I'm like, ooh, I'm naked. Yeah. So anyway, I said, I'm going to southeast plot. So I went in there that afternoon. And in fact, Barrett came in there with me. This was by design. And we filled the other 2 feeders that day, made some noise, hung a north wind stand where he came that morning. And I kind of did that on purpose, because I said, I want him to go to southeast plots. I'm not going to go over there. And maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. So anyway, I'm sitting there on the stand. I'm not seeing a lot of deer. I'm not seeing any deer, in fact. And I'm texting everybody or whatever. What happens? Middle plot. Barry, broad daylight. I'm like, oh no. I'm looking at this reveal trail.
He actually texted me SOB with the picture.
Yeah. I sent everybody the picture. I said, wrong spot again. And Ryan's response was, bruh. Like, it's just getting like ridiculous. And it's what's so fun about the story is he liked to play the game so much. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, maybe there's time he could get here. And so the next picture I got him, he was jumping out of the feeder pen. We have feeder pens to keep the hogs out. He was jumping out of the pen. I said, which they do that a lot. But anyway, I'm sitting there telling the camera, y'all will see all this on video. I'm telling the camera, I showed him on the video, I showed him the picture of Barry. I said, the good news is he's moving in daylight. The bad news is not here. And so while I was doing that interview, I said, oh, well, there's a doe right there. It's actually a spike. But anyway, I videoed. I thought it was a doe at first. I videoed and I'm sitting there, and this is, I hadn't cut the clip yet. And I might have even told you this. I haven't cut the clip yet. And here comes another doe, 2, 3. And while I'm just letting the camera run on those does coming out, it's getting late. And I checked my phone to see if Barry's still over there, and he ain't. The last picture was it when he jumped out that feeder pen. I said, maybe. And when the 5th doe came in, I felt it. I'm serious. I felt it. I said, he's coming. He's coming. Never cut the clip from when I showed him on my phone. It's 12-minute. It was a 12-minute clip. He steps in I got the camera rolling. He steps in the field. Like, so I'm sitting in there. He steps in right behind the little water oak over there to the left.
Yeah.
And he steps in. The wind's good. And guess what happened? I didn't even told y'all this. Guess what happens when he steps in? Some doe upwind to the east goes to blowing. I'm like, no way. no way this is going to happen again. Yeah, I had no reason to think that I was going to kill him, judged off all my other hunts. Like, something's going to happen. So anyway, he comes to walking in, and I knew before I left the house that day, I'd shot a couple times at 40 and 45 because I knew this could be a father shot. The feeder and the feed pin's in the middle of the plot, and I've got one stand on the north side that's 30 yards, but I'm in the south stand, which is 43 yards from the feeder. So anyway, he walks out and gets right there to the feeder pen, and he's like 41 right there. So I've got the camera on him, like, if he'll stand there. So I go to grab the bow and get ready, and I get the bow, and he starts feeding to me. There's another deer right on this side. He just starts, for whatever reason, the grass is coming up good now, and he's feeding to me a little bit. And he gets there, and you'll hear it on the range. I grab the rangefinder, click, click, 37 and a half, something like that. And he's feeding to me, and he gets broadside. So now you'll see on video, I'm pushing the camera with my bow. You can see my bow because I can't draw because the camera's I shot sitting down. The camera's sitting right here. And I had to push it over and make sure it was on him. So then he starts facing me again, and he took a step or two. And, I knew it was a farther shot, so I said, I got to range him. Click, click, all right, everything good. So he got broadside, and then you'll hear it. I drew back, and look, if you're watching the video, it sounds like my bow is so loud when you draw. It's because it's so close to the mic. Just drawing back, and I drew back, and he did not hear the drawback. I've watched the video literally 100 times, and he didn't hear the drawback. He heard this. He heard that. I'm telling you, he heard that breath I took. Okay, calm down, make the shot. I had my pen on 37. He was 36 and a half, 37. I put it right on his heart. And I remember thinking, usually I don't do this that good, but when it's a farther shot, I feel like I do it better. As a close shot, I was like, take your heart, pull through the shot. When I shot, he got down like crazy. And I knew it smoked him. It looked like I didn't get a lot of penetration. The deer runs off. And speaking of the penetration, Craig knows this. Anytime it doesn't go all the way through on camera,
Makes it look horrible.
It makes it look like you don't get a lot of penetration. That arrow went in 24 inches. Like it was in that far. And
which is his whole body almost.
Right. Yeah. Double lunged him, no doubt. So it was a B3, 2 inches, my new favorite broadhead, Meg, and they don't pay me a dime. They make a great product. A friend of ours owns a company, and they make a good product. That B3 Meg 3-blade is a good head. Anyway, so I shot him. He ran off, and everybody said, "You hear him crash?" I don't know. I was freaking out so much. I was just losing. And I don't know how many times I have to count it. I said, I got him. I got him. I got him. Like 20 times. And I was like, as excited as I've ever been when I shot. No doubt, excited as I ever been when I shot a deer. And I turned the camera, and I thanked the Lord, and I thanked Lori. I called her and told her I got it. I said, I got him. And she said, thank God.
All she wanted to do to get home.
So I told Asa, and then I did a little TV stuff, little recreates and all that. And so I was by myself, of course, self-filming. And Craig's dad and Nate were at the lease, which was pretty cool because they had passed the deer. And then my buddy Barrett, I sent him a very special Indian that I sent y'all to, a very special Indian that I had made like a month before for Barry, and I've been waiting to send it. And as soon as I sent it to him, he said, why is he sending me this Thanksgiving? Oh, man. He said, I'm on the way.
Same thing. I got it, but I got it at the same time I got the message that you got him. So like, because it didn't all come through.
Right.
And so I got it. But if I'd have got that before, I'd have been like, what the heck is he sending this for?
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so I went down and I was like, okay, I'll wait for them to come track. I said, no. I said, first of all, I went back and watched the video, and then I was like, God, am I high? You play second game. You second guess it on yourself. And always, I know this from whenever you're watching the knot, because it's so bright, there at dark, the arrow always enters pretty good bit lower than that knot, because
it always kicks up.
It kicks up, and it looks higher. It always does. And it's going down.
Especially when it's not a pass-through.
Right.
Because it kicks.
And so, but you start second guessing yourself. So I said, if I am high, there's going to be very little blood, and it don't matter if I go in and look for him now or not. He's not going to die. Like if I hit him high.
Yeah.
So I go in. I'm having a hard time placing exactly. I had to go back and look at the video where he went in. He went in, found a little drop of blood. I said, okay, good blood. And then I went in there about 10 steps, and then it started spraying. I said, well, he ain't high. And then it started spraying, and I walked 70 yards right to him tracking. I videoed it all. And then I videoed myself getting him and all. And then I got Mr. Chippy came up. They helped me go down there and get him. Barrett came, and then we videoed and took our pictures. And, we took literally 100 pictures. And I remember telling Mr. Chippy, I said, if somebody only takes 2 or 3 pictures of your deer, they don't think it's very big. Like I hadn't had one take this many pictures in a while. And he was actually a hard deer to take pictures of, the angles and stuff. And everybody's asked me, oh, it's one of them Slade pictures. He made him look bigger than he is. No, they wasn't. No, that deer, that's a cell phone. That's a cell phone. I've got deer that outscore him by 10 to 15 inches that he would dwarf. You'd shoot him if he stepped in the field. Mm-hmm. So where Barry was so impressive was all the mass up in his tines.
And length. And everything,
and he's only 13.5 inches wide.
That's the thing. If he would have been 17 or 18 inches wide, his pictures would have looked 1,000 times.
But I don't know. I mean, heck, I had people. He's not this big, but I had people saying, "Hey, man, did he make it in the 70s? High 60s? No, he's not quite that big. But he's still the best deer I've ever killed around here." And I'm super, super pumped. I thanked you on the video several times.
Oh, that's good.
So you'll have to make sure you watch the episode. And so we drug him out of there and came to the house and, took a couple of pictures, called a million people. I came in here and I remember I cleaned him out there by myself, and I had to go to the LSU game the next day, so I didn't have time to do anything the next morning. I came in here and I watched the video. I didn't get in bed till midnight. I was on a high. And let me back. Speaking of being on a high, Scott Lindsay asked me the next day. He said, "You still high? On that high from that deer?" It's funny how, this is why we do it. The emotions, how fun it is, and I mean, literally, like, you have a story like this once every 10 years. Mm-hmm. It's like you remember, and that's why you do it. And it doesn't have to be a big deer. It could be just a great hunt. And anyway. Scott Lindsay texted me that morning. I was telling him about my encounters and all that. He said, dude, I sent him a picture. He said, daylight again. He said, dude, his days are numbered. I said, man, I don't know. I've been having trouble. He said, dude, his days are numbered. I'd hate to know you were after me. You'll get him. And I was like, all right. It was a little confidence booster. I told him. And, golly, that was fun. I ain't gonna lie, it's been bittersweet checking my trail cameras and there's no Barry there.
I sent you a message 3 days ago. I said, any pictures of Barry lately?
Yeah, I ain't no pictures of Barry lately. I'm hoping that maybe one shows up that looks just like him. Like, oh my gosh, it was 2 of them. Yeah, that's why he moves so much, because it was actually 2. But it's been nothing but good. Got him at the taxidermist already. Super pumped to get him mounted. I've actually eaten a little of his backstrap. In fact, I got some in the refrigerator. If y'all would like to taste Barry, there's some in there. He was good, man.
That's the least you can do.
Yeah, I got some in there.
I did feed him for 2 years already.
Right. Well, but anyway, that's the story of Barry. A heck of a deer. If you haven't seen the pictures, Caleb, if you put this on YouTube, throw a picture of him at the end. And then the story of Barry, if you're listening to it on YouTube, you're probably watching the show on YouTube too. The story of Barry, the plan is we're going to lay out all this footage, Caleb and I, in a timeline, and then we're going to see what pieces of the puzzle we need to re-explain, like setups or things like that. Because I think if we do this right, it will really be, for the South, it'll be hard to ever have documented a deer this much. Mm-hmm. Because I've got deer I've had pictures of for longer out on other places, but you don't get them on video.
Yeah, you don't get encounters of them.
Right. So I think it's going to be a fun story, and I'm excited about it. Let me see here. I'm looking at, we didn't do this to start. Let me see. We covered all this. A couple things I wanted to do before we jump off of here. Real estate-wise, we're in last month of November. We're ending up a really, really good year. Of course, it's not as good as last year, but last year was unbelievable. But we're a very blessed year, and we did really, really good. And we're finishing strong. I got an offer right now on a big property in Adams County that I'm going to show the guy in the morning. We should finalize that tomorrow, I think. just contracted one we've been trying to contract in Lamar County, got that done. And we've got several closings happen before the end of the year. If you think real estate is slowed down and the land business is not good, you're not paying attention. We've been busy. Kayla's been showing. I think you got, 2 or 3 showings the next 2 days. I've got showings tomorrow. I've got showings on Friday. And I got a guy who wants to go look at some land on Saturday. And then I've got 2. I already had 2 closings this week, so I mean it's been rocking and rolling. Hunting wise, I was going to talk to Craig about this. So tell you where we're at. Okay, we had a terrible drought.
Bad.
Craig and I got to lease the plots together. Craig actually planted them right before rain. We didn't cover them, but they're looking good.
Yep, look great.
They're looking good. And that was the one we planted. I planted mine about 10 days, 2 weeks earlier. At my house and at some of my other spots at Thunder Hollow. And I don't know if you saw the grass out here. It looks really good. Now, being that I planted it earlier, I'm going ahead in the morning before daylight because we got rain coming. I'm going to get on the tractor and put out a little fertilizer. I'm also going to hit my plots with Plot Boost and Plot Start. You can mix it together. And the main spot I'm doing that for is over at the Thunder Hollow. We made new plots this year where Caleb killed his big deer last year. And we got new ground. And that grass is all coming up, but it looked bad. It don't look good. And I think it's because it's so acidic from all that stuff we made those new plots. And so I'm hitting it heavy with the fertilizer and the Plot Start and all that. And I think in the Plot Boost, and I think it's going to do good. Cutting timber out there right now. And we're really developing that place. It's going to be a fun project. I went out there today, by the way, Caleb, but logging's going good. Craig is hunting a really good deer. You gonna hunt him in the morning too?
Yeah, I'm gonna try him in the morning
on the lease. Some really good deer, solid deer for our area. And they've got several other culls and other deer moving around. I've got a couple deer here at the house that I'm hunting. I'm not hunting them as much as I'm taking the kids to hunt them. Asa killed her first deer the other day. I need to do a podcast about Asa's first hunt. We need to do that.
And add her in here.
Yeah, definitely her in here. That'll be entertaining. But anyway, the main couple of deer is at place I got south of the lease that I hunt with a buddy of mine. I've got a couple of really good deer, and I know them. One of them that I want the most, if you watched the selfie episode last year, Caleb and I had to counter with a deer we call Lone Brow, and I had him dead, and Caleb couldn't see him with the camera, and it just happens. But it worked out better because I killed El Diablo and a better story. And the good news is Lone Brow is bigger this year. He's a hammer. He is not killable until at least the teens of December. You got to have a little rut in there.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, he ain't gonna daylight just ran.
That's kind of how the deer I'm after is. Like he will daylight right now. But
only thing I would say in rebuttal to that is where he's coming is like a spot he could just walk by and you could kill him because he's not like, it's not like he's coming to a little bitty field. He's coming to a big bottom. They would just randomly maybe be feeding him if deer were feeding. That was the only rebuttal I would have to that. But it's still, the best is way yet to come here around here. My favorite day to hunt is the 26th. What's your favorite day to hunt?
See, I'm still like that 17th, 18th, 19th.
See, I think the 17th, 18th, 19th, let me tell y'all Midwesterners how it is.
Last week of October.
The cold fronts in October, that's the teens of December for us. November, the 1st to the 10th for us is Christmas to January 5th. That's how.
And I never liked November 1st through 10th. I never did good in the Midwest ever.
Always did good.
I always did last week of October.
Typically, I would say that. Of course, I killed my deer in Iowa this year, like the 4th or 5th. Cable and I first week of November last year, had some incredible hunting in the Midwest. Incredible hunting. So did Ryan. But this year, of course, it was a lot slower in Missouri. We've got an episode coming out about our Iowa hunt, by the way. We've already recorded it. It will be coming out after this one, I think. But it's a good episode we did up there with my buddy Kurt with UC Hunting Properties. But Craig, let me ask you this. You hadn't been on the podcast in probably a year and a half, year?
It's been a while.
All right. You got $100 million. Has your answer changed at all? You got $100 million. You can buy property wherever you want. Where are we buying and why?
I will say it probably did change because I probably do it more around here than I would the first time I talked, just because I'm kind of enjoying the local.
Something special about
it. Yeah, I enjoy it a lot more than I used to, especially with my dad and my family hunting a lot more with me now. It makes a lot of difference. Not necessarily from an investment standpoint, but actually from a recreational standpoint. So
it's fun to, like, this Thunder Hollow place I've been developing, putting a lot of money and time into. I'm so excited to go crawl up in a box stand with the kids with the boomstick and watch the field come alive. That's something that's, I love bow hunting. It's my favorite thing to do. Rifle hunting, but it's just, there's nothing wrong with it. I like bow hunting better. But there's something that is so much fun about a big green field and getting in a box stand and watching everything, because it didn't have to happen under you. Watching the whole field happen and deer skirting in and out. I don't know. It's like you're not on them so much, so it's a little. You don't have to worry about scent as much. You don't have to worry about.
You don't have to worry about it much at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, if your wind's right and you want them tight and blind, yeah. But anyway, it's just fun, and I'm excited for that for the kids. I'm about to have a 90-acre clear cut right across the creek, fresh for the rut. So it's going to be. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to have a blind over there for the kids, and we're going to have a good time.
And he's saying for the kids.
Right. Well, Long Brow is going down. He's dead man walking. I've got a couple good deer here that if the kids don't hurry up.
Well,
Ace is, she's not that worried about it. She wants to kill Fireball, a deer she named.
After the reindeer.
After the reindeer. And then we got Ricky Bobby over here, which is a random daylighter too. Not as bad as Barry, but he's just a random, like, oh, here's Tuesday, 70 degrees. He comes out and it's just he's weird. But I probably could have killed him already, but I've been so obsessed with Barry, I didn't mess with him. Asa did kill the doe that always ruins our hunts over there, by the way. There's one more over there we got to get, Big Red. We killed Big Gray. So we get her, we'll probably have a lot better chance than those bucks. Well, that's about it. Any final thoughts on Barry?
R.I.P. Barry.
May he rest in peace. But super blessed to actually even be able to hunt a deer like that.
I will say this. It has something to do with Barry, but not necessarily all Barry. Is for our lease, from what we've done the past 3 years, you could tell the difference. You got Barry this year, which is an incredible deer. The deer I'm after for this area is an incredible deer, and it's all in the same year.
The one that's coming where Caleb went today.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's it's just a testament of doing the right things, and no matter where you are, you can always have something to go after.
And this is this is a good example. Like, oh, Slade, you got all them private places to hunt. Well, this is a private place. This is a lease like anybody else can get. And look, the food plot I killed him in is a 1/4 acre, maybe.
I don't even think it's a 1/4 acre.
It may be an eighth of an acre.
That thing's tiny.
And anyway,
put it this way: one round with the cart, you're overdone. That's it. And you could not. You almost shoot it all across it. But so a lot of people are in leases and how you can do it. And let me say this: how many times have you heard this? Oh, it's just a lease, man. We ain't gonna manage it. We may lose it now. Craig and I could lose our lease next year. I don't think we are, but we could lose our lease next year. And we manage it. The reason we have it is because the people weren't doing as good a job. They weren't doing a bad job. They weren't doing as good a job, of shooting the right deer. We're all open with our neighbors about we're letting this go, we're shooting this, and all this kind of stuff. And we're in a really, really good area. So if the Barry has anything we can learn, I think that getting on board with everybody doing the same thing. Like if you can talk to your neighbors. And how many times, if I don't shoot as a neighbor will, well, go sit. I'm not saying you can all the time. Go sit down with those neighbor and say, look, you don't have to worry about that because I'm not shooting. Get on the right page.
Yeah, I'm not shooting. Because if you shoot him, he's guaranteed dead.
Yep. Our first year, I think we had a total of 3 5-year-old deer on our lease. Mm-hmm. Fast forward 3 years later, I think we have 10 plus 5-year-old.
Yeah, we got a bunch of them. Craig still got the most of them.
I do. That's why I chose West Side.
I've got 2.
You got a couple more, yeah.
Is that other deer a shooter too? The one that coming with the 8?
Yeah, I don't have history of him, but
they
have history of him. They said, yeah.
Whatever deer that was that I got a picture of today is a definite shooter.
Long brow, big 8.
He's not long. I don't think he had long brows, but
over on the leash.
Big frame 8. I couldn't see his brow.
Yeah, that's gonna be him.
Yeah, that's gonna be him. Yeah. Wait, major or general? because there's 2 of them.
One of them.
Yeah, General's bigger, right?
It's a bigger one that's been coming there.
Yeah.
We got to get those hogs killed, and then he's killable because they come right at dark every day. Caleb, I sent Caleb over there to kill him, but
he killed those.
No, the other day. No, you
The
hit.
hog actually do like the
You hit. It clipped the hog, but it didn't hurt it. Well, that's it for the Berry podcast. I'm telling y'all want to watch this story. We're going to do our best to make this thing good and show y'all the whole story because I think it's a fun story. It is a deer that is worthy of this story. And we can't wait to show them to y'all. Seriously, we should have it out here in a couple of weeks. It'll definitely be out before Christmas. We'll have it out. We'll go on Waypoint first and then go on Huntland Man TV on YouTube. So I think we just posted today or posting tomorrow Blake's elk hunt. We're going to do a podcast about that elk hunt. Y'all are going to really like that.
Maybe Blake was sick. So
yeah, Blake was sick today, so he didn't get to do a podcast. We hurried up and did a Berry podcast. But we're going to get out of here. Craig's going hunting in the morning. I'm going fertilizer putting out, TV interviews, and then showing some land. And then I got to go to Baton Rouge. So busy day.
yeah, and I need to borrow your heater again tonight. So
You going to get cold?
yeah,
It is a little cold.
I did
out
find mine though at the house. I just didn't pick it up.
It's in the corner right over there. Y'all have a blessed day. We're going to get out of here.